Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling. And this is Count Out. It's our top 10, but not top 10 today, series where it's our top 10, not the top 10. We're getting that clear right now. We are not saying that these are the best or the worst of whatever we do. This is our personal opinion, what we've enjoyed the most, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people to have their own opinion, not be told what's the best, worst, other thing. What is yours? And today we're going to do actually splitting a top 10 into a top 5. Two top 5s. We're going to look at what are our worst 5 Survivor Series pay-per-views and our favourite 5 Survivor Series. We're going to start positively because it's much more fun to end negatively. I'm going to introduce you to Baby Sam.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you doing over there?
Radiantly.
Yeah.
I'm magnificent in every single way.
How did you find picking Survivor Series?
So for my best ones, I was okay. I had a few. I struggled for my worst ones, not because there's not any bad ones.
Much of a muchness.
Yes, they're not memorable.
No,
that's the thing. You don't get disasters of Survivor Series.
No,
you just get
not really.
very meh, which is arguably worse.
Meh is worse than worse. At least worse, you can talk about it.
Yeah.
And think about it, becomes infamous. If you it is a nothing.
That's the worst. It's indifference is the worst reaction you can get.
Yeah, I think so. So before we do our top 10, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and then put in the comments below what are your 5 favourite Survivor Series and what are your 5 least favourite Survivor Series. So we're looking at our 5 favourites. We're starting positively. So Sam, what is your 5th favourite Survivor Series?
It's maybe controversial, but I'm going 2001.
Okay.
As a fan, as a kid growing up, I was looking back at the old stuff, and the idea that you had WWE versus WCW, 5-on-5 at Survivor Series, fighting for who would take control of the company. Like, obviously, everyone at the time would have known WWE going to win, but you never know. They might have had an angle where WCW took over for a bit, and then WWE went back at WrestleMania.
We didn't really know.
Yeah.
Like, I think we were all pretty certain that WWE were going to win. But you couldn't really back it fully. Yeah.
And as a kid, I didn't understand that most of it, or if all of the WCW people weren't there. So it didn't feel like it was that. So that's a shame.
It's my first proper pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because I watched No Mercy first, but I didn't really know what was going on. So I would argue that's my first proper pay-per-view where I kind of knew what was happening in wrestling. Yeah. I understood the storylines, for example.
It will always have a special place in my heart. I remember watching the promo video of it, which is a really good promo.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's one of the best endings to a SmackDown, everyone doing their special move.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love that kind of stuff, so I'll give it, 5.
My number 5. I've gone 2009.
Really?
Yeah, I actually, because I'm all over the place in this wrestling. I'm not watching. I'm kind of floating at this point. But this pay-per-view isn't amazing, but there are 2 things that just stick with me as memorable. And I think if you do something that's memorable, that's what I'm looking for. And the 2 things, one small one is Kofi winning his Survivor Series.
Oh, what a shout.
And he did it bang, bang.
Yeah.
So he beats Punk and beats Orton, and it's in the space of about 8 seconds. That's phenomenal. That's never been done, and that was really good. I wish there was something that it mattered, but that was so good, and it made Kofi look great. If they should have, Randy killed him at that point. It's really sad. I wish they'd done more with it, because that moment was great. However, the 2 triple threats as the main event. One was fine. Shawn Michaels kicking John Cena, kicking Triple H at the beginning, Triple H falling through, and they're a DX partnership. So if you don't know, it's Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena in the main event. They are DX. I think they might have been tag team champions or about to win it next month. Yeah. And Shawn Michaels in the beginning of the match just super kicks Triple H. And Triple H falls through. And they end up having just 2 singles matches, don't they, really? John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. I think then Triple H comes in. I think they put Shawn Michaels through a table, top of my head. And then Triple H and Cena have their match. I think that moment of just Cena's face, hilarious as it. It's great, and no one was expecting it.
No, they build the entire thing, and you think it's going to be the lazy, boring storytelling of...
Which is done earlier to kind of, show that.
And they think, DX going to team up, but they'll have a bit of friction, but mainly team up, and then they'll eventually do it, and then it'll just be a normal match. But just that, immediately, it was brilliant.
Triple H sold it amazingly.
Yeah, Shawn's face just going, I'm going to do it.
I love that moment.
Like, I'm good enough to beat both of these guys.
For me, because there's so few moments of Survivor Series, that's the one... As a fan who wasn't really paying attention, I was watching that, and by that point, I'm 18. I'm jaded because it was very predictable, and just sit there, just like, and then bang, it was like, okay, wasn't ready for it, and I actually enjoyed the show. It was actually an okay show.
No, I'd second that. Yeah.
Sam, your number 4 favourite Survivor Series pay-per-view.
I think it's almost a bit unlucky to be this low,
Okay.
but it's 2014.
Oh, okay.
I love
Not made my list.
I love the Team Cena vs Team Authority.
What else is on the pay-per-view?
Name
it.
Who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah, but
and that's
sometimes you don't need anything.
I agree. That's why it's not made, because genuinely the rest of the pay-per-view is awful. It's 2 hours of filler. They actually did a promo at the beginning of the pay-per-view because they needed to fill in more information because they hadn't fully explained it going in about Cena wasn't going to get fired, but everyone else was. And it was a mess. The match, you're absolutely right, is one of the greatest matches in Survivor Series history.
And it ends with Sting debuting. It is unbelievable. You know what? Sometimes a main event can just make an entire show.
And
that's
it did.
why
And
it just doesn't get higher for me because of that. But
it's
that's
one of my sixth.
It's one of my favourite ever matches. It's my favourite Survivor Series 5-on-5 match ever, I think.
Look at the last 3 people in the match.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, Luke Harper, Dolph Ziggler. It's just, these aren't the people. It's the best Big Show heel turn.
Yeah.
We agreed. The Cena thing, it made sense. It worked. It made Rusev look relatively strong. Made Mark Henry look hilarious. It was so funny. Triple H's response is really great. Yeah. I love that match.
Yeah.
Sting's debut is really good.
We'll always have a special place match. That could be a Hall of Fame shout for me at one point.
Oh, definitely. That will enter the Hall of Fame.
I love that match.
My number 4 is more surprising. It's 2019.
Yeah.
It's NXT.
Got on that for me.
Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I hated the Raw versus SmackDown. I hated it. We watched this together.
We did, and
I was talking about how I hated it and stuff like. We watched all the pay-per-views at the back end of 2019. Actually, they were bad. All of them were bad. This was great because it was star making, and every match was really good. The women's match was really, really, really good. You know, and it put over people like Toni Storm, and it put over Rhea Ripley really, really, really well. And then you've got the Brock Ray, just whatever it was, like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, great fun. Obviously, we got Bryan and The Fiend as well, and you know, a match that me and you forgot on Sam versus Sam. So that was a problem. But don't forget the fucking matches of Adam Cole versus Pete Dunne, having an absolute barnstormer for the NXT title. I mean, there was some amazing matches. Keith Lee's performance, though. I will like to read out SmackDown's team. Can you remember SmackDown's team?
Corbin.
So King Corbin.
Oh, sorry, King Corbin.
Yep.
Roman
Reigns.
Was Strowman in that?
Braun Strowman. So Roman and Braun, you know, okay. And then we've got King Corbin. Can you name the other 2?
They're really bad, aren't they? They're really obscure.
Mustafa Ali, before he did anything. And then Shorty G. It's Chad Gable as the Shorty G character. It nearly ruins it for me. And annoyingly, Roman wins the match. Should have been Keith Lee. I don't know why they didn't have Keith Lee win it, but... And weirdly, the women main event, the triple threat, is the women main eventing, to be honest.
You just reminded me that Shorty G was a thing.
Shorty G was a thing.
You don't need to do that to you.
Sorry.
We've moved on.
Better now. Hey, if you can remind me of 2014's 2 hours of nothing, I can remind you of Shorty G.
Shorty G. Those dark times.
2019 was one of the worst years in wrestling history. However, I liked the Survivor Series. I actually thought it was the pay-per-view of the year. Number 3, Sam. What have you got as your 3rd favourite?
2003.
I've got 2003.
This might be your number 1. I know you love this show. It's just insane, isn't it?
It's
the Austin Bischoff match is amazing. Obviously, Shawn Michaels, we've talked about before how amazing that individual performance was, nearly winning. Then you've got the Brock and Angle. You've got what's Triple H doing?
Goldberg, main event. It's the worst bit of the show.
Yeah, we'll gloss over that.
Yeah,
but you got Kane and Shane as well.
And then Ambulance, Undertaker, Buried Alive.
Yeah,
Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It's insane. It's insane. I will talk about it.
I'm sure
at a later date.
Yes,
but I'm going to talk about something you've already talked about because I think it needs to be filled in even more. It's 2001. As much as the Invasion, it's my number 3. As much as the Invasion was terrible, this pay-per-view was outstanding for a few reasons. One, you talked about it. That last match is actually a brilliant match. Look at the star power.
Yeah.
Rock, Jericho, Kane, Undertaker, meant to be Vince, Big Show, RVD, Booker T, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, Shane. As much as the booking was a mess, and the match ended quite poorly with Kurt Angle, that was poor. I wish they didn't do that. But you forgetting that we also have got the Hardys, Dudleys in a cage match, which built the Hardys splitting up, which built into the Undertaker feud with the Hardys.
Yeah.
Jeff did a swanton off it, straight through a table, and they pinned him. And Matt was already on the outside going, just climb down. Just climb down. And Jeff was like, I'm a daredevil. I don't want to win and save my job. Because every job was on the line. And that was the thing. He had Edge test. Edge wins. He was the only one outside of the main event where the WWF won. The Alliance won every match. Christian won his. Randomly, I think it was against like Al Snow, really randomly. It was like a pre-show. And then they did an immunity battle royal and Test entered it after already losing to Edge, so Test won. That made Test look great, even in the losing match earlier. Then you had the 6-pack women's challenge, and it debuted Trish as an actual character, as a winning character. I didn't mean to say that. And Jazz debuted. I'm in the Alliance! I lost my job. But this pay-per-view, as a 10-year-old boy, didn't know Goldberg, didn't know Sting, didn't know Flair. I didn't know that WCW were missing everybody. Didn't know the NWO and all that jazz. Didn't exist. I had no idea who they were. I knew that these guys were the bad guys. And I think this is what you need to remember when you watch wrestling, is somebody might be coming in and know no law. And everyone comes in at a different time. And I came in and it was the most exciting thing ever, because I had kayfabe was a thing for me. So I didn't know it was fake. I was so terrified that the WWF were going to lose. Terrified, because they were my favourites, because they were faces. And the night before this, the SmackDown before this, Paul Heyman delivers one of the greatest promos of all time. But yeah, I love Survivor Series 2001. Sam, your runner-up, your number 2 favourite Survivor Series.
I've gone with 2002.
I've also got 2002 as my number. Oh, look at that.
Men of culture.
I love this pay-per-view. This should be number 1 in reality, because it is a banger from start to finish. No match fails.
Yeah,
absolutely. The first match is a 6-man elimination tag team match through tables. Every table spot's amazing. It's really funny. God damn it, Jeff! That's all I remember from that. Rico on the top. Jeff! God damn it, Jeff! Devon returns to Reap it. The pop is enormous. Scott Steiner debuts.
Yeah.
The pop is enormous. The SmackDown 6 are just putting a match. They just went, go be together.
Ray has a really cool entrance.
Yeah, over there.
Yeah.
What are you doing over there? Ray! Match is over here! And that match is amazing. Angle and Benoit fall out, and then Guerrero's win with their first kind of probably proper bit of cheating, really, to do anything. Brock and Big Show, a bit of a letdown, but the double cross actually is quite memorable. And to be honest, I didn't mind Big Show winning at the time. It actually didn't bother me. I wanted Brock to lose, because you can't have someone just keep winning.
Yeah.
People, if you're ever watching and you're there going, why is this person lost? Or like, people were complaining when Bron Breakker lost his first ever match to Sami Zayn at Money in the Bank this year. And I'm like, if he just wins the Intercontinental title, where does he go? You can't have everyone go on undefeated streak. They were like, well, Gunther did. It's like, yeah, great, but you can't have all of them do it, because then one of 2 things has happened. You either get screwy finishes constantly, or when they do finally lose, that's it. The mystique is gone. When Goldberg lost, his mystique actually went. Even though he was still the main event, he wasn't the same. Yeah. But so I was happy with Brock losing, and it was double cross was fine. It made no sense, but they thought Brock was going to be out longer. He had broken ribs, and he literally was back like at the Rumble. He was fine. Brock. He never actually left TV, and then the Elimination Chamber, Sam, the first ever.
Can't be the first.
Probably the best. It's probably still the best. It's brutal.
Legendary.
It goes wrong.
Oh yeah, no.
Kane came out early, and then you wouldn't know.
No.
You had no idea that went wrong.
Mark the difference between that and that IC chamber.
Mark!
Mark's just like,
you stay there! Mark, stay there! Oh, Dolph. Dolph tried so hard.
He really did.
But it goes wrong and you wouldn't have known.
I think it's a difference between that era of wrestling and modern wrestling, where everything's a bit too choreographed and we can't just improvise on the fly.
Well, look at the 6 people in it as well. Absolutely. 6 veterans. No one who's got the least experience in that. Like, yeah, but he'd been in Harlem Heat for years. I mean, maybe Kane, but he was in WCW. That's one thing. Every single person had at least 10, 15 years in the business. Triple H getting his throat destroyed.
Oh my, what?
And they hadn't even had a third man come in at that point, I don't think. So is he the toughest man in wrestling, officially?
He's up there.
Because he's gone through 3 matches with 3 devastating injuries and finished them. I don't think he should have done.
So that and the quad, what was the other one?
He did his quad twice.
Did you squad twice?
With the DX RKO.
But also, he had the Brothers of Destruction match, the Saudi one that we don't talk about, but he did his pack.
Yeah, he did his pack. He's fair play. It's one of my favourite pay-per-views ever. Love it.
Got to be.
Sam, what is your number 1 Survivor Series? I'll do mine first, because it's 2003. We've talked about it a little bit. Shawn Michaels' performance in that match is one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. It just shows you he didn't even go in the match at all. He did a little tiny bit, and then everyone just got eliminated around him. The star power in it as well. Like, when you think about the people who got eliminated early, I think the first man out for Team Austin is Booker T, and then RVD, and you got Mark Henry and Scott Steiner go out on the other one. It's just a whirlwind. A buried alive match? I'd never seen a buried alive match. I was so excited. Vince gets his absolute ass handed to him. He bleeds in the opening second, and then Kane blows him up and buries him. That's a great idea. really works for me. Kane and Shane had a great ambulance match. It's still the best ambulance match by a mile. No one's come close to it. Eddie Guerrero tag team match, really good. But then the 2 5-on-5s, Goldberg Triple H is a terrible main event. But the first 5-on-5 is a really good one. Even though there's nothing on the line, they built their teams. It had the return of Hardcore Holly, who came running down and got himself disqualified immediately. That's great continuity. It put over John Cena as a brand new babyface. Benoit taps out Brock. Therefore, he looks like he's ready to main event, which he does 5 months later at Mania. It's honestly one of the most perfect shows. If they had a better main event, I think it would be one of the greatest shows of all time of what I'm looking for from wrestling. But sadly, the main event is a stinker because Goldberg can't wrestle more than 10 minutes.
No, and Triple H isn't going to carry him really, is he?
And he's still struggling with injury. He's better, but he's still struggling with injury.
So this is going to be quite out there, but I don't care. And it makes no sense. And it shouldn't be anyone else's number one, 2023, because CM Punk returns.
The CM Punk return. Is that your done favourite moment? Like?
I'm telling you now, that is it. You can't beat that as a moment in wrestling. Don't get me wrong, good pay-per-view. Good pay-per-view.
Io Sky, event. Trash can, dive.
Great pay-per-view. That's not why it's here.
Oh, it's awesome.
It could be in my 5 without the Punk, even with the Randy return. Like that.
Randy's is good.
Really good return.
Randy's good.
That there's something about CM Punk coming back. It's emotional.
Just really annoying. That got ruined for me that CM Punk was returned.
Really?
Okay, not by dirt sheets.
Yeah.
BBC News posted about it.
Yeah.
I literally was doing my job, and because we live in England, we ain't watching it live unless we're idiots. So we'll watch it the next day, and I had to go to work first thing in the morning. I was going to watch it at like 1 o'clock, and I had a little quick break, and I went, I'll avoid social media because it will all be on there, but I'll go on BBC News. And literally, like the 4th thing down is CM Punk returns to the ring. I was like, really?
Yeah.
This makes
Slow
BBC News?
Yeah.
I was fuming.
Yeah, I would be as well. I was on my tour at that point, so I was doing this acting tour. So I had done work that entire morning, and then got home in the evening, put it on my TV in the house that we were we were put up in, and I watched it, and I literally got to the end of the show because I watched the entire.
They did the whole NXT, put the card up.
It was brilliant.
Bray Wyatt's return.
Because I just thought it was done. I was literally about to get up to turn off my laptop that was putting on the screen, and then
it was a great return. And you know what? Who knew how good his 2024 would be?
Yeah,
who knew? But yeah, I'm actually fine with that because it was a great moment. It didn't make mine when I had my long list because we were going to do 10 and 10 and they were like, there's not 10 bad ones, there's not 10 good ones without them being like, and who wants to talk about I had it at 7.
Yeah.
Mainly for Io Sky's crack trash can jump because I think that's hilarious and I love it.
It's just, it will always have the most special place in my heart, so it's got to be there.
Oh, you're seeing Pun Mark, aren't you?
Of course.
Yeah, well, you saw them all in. You saw them all in number 1.
I did.
Yeah. We are now going to move on to our least favourite Survivor Series moments. Number 5, I shall start off. My 5th least favourite is 97. I'm not going to tell you why. You all know why. We don't talk about it on this show because everyone has talked about it to death. It's the most boring subject in wrestling. Who cares? I'll also point out on this show, apart from that, Austin takes on Owen Hart.
Is it that much?
No, that's in SummerSlam. 4 minutes. Why am I watching it?
Is he not ready to really
I don't know. He might not have been, to be fair, but at the end of the day, it's one of the worst shows ever, and it's one of the worst things in wrestling because I hate it and I don't want to talk about it ever again, so I'm not going to. Sam, you're number 5 worst.
I've gone 2012. It's just, I mean, the Shield debuting, great, awesome. And I don't have
2012. I think of the Shield and I forget about everything else. What else happens on that show?
The most damning thing I can say is I don't know.
Yeah.
And I just think it was so unremarkable, especially that era. You just can't think of anything that's really happening. It's just very, very meh. I think this is Del Rio Big Show territory.
It is, but I don't think they have a world title match on that one. I think
it's Sheamus.
Sheamus Big Show.
I don't mind Sheamus,
but not that their first match was fine, but not the second.
Because I was thinking these, and I just thought of 2012, and and for that reaction, it's
great ending. That's why why it's not made my worst because it's one of the best endings to a Survivor Series of all time. So that's why it's not made mine. But I fully understand because what is on the show. Yeah. Sam, your 4th worst Survivor Series pay-per-view.
I'm very conflicted on this one, and I feel a bit bad because I actually quite like the concept of this one. It's 2015 because it's just rubbish. So I love a tournament. I love the fact that they did a tournament for Rollins losing the championship and the vacating. I love that, But my word, you've got Del Rio in there in the semis. I like Owens, I like Ambrose. Neither of them were going to win. We all knew Owens was going to win. And then you had Sheamus, who no one wanted to be champion.
They just need to get rid of this briefcase again.
Yes.
I need to get rid of this briefcase before
And you just
Mania.
carbon copied the Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton one where you have the confetti and then he loses, but it didn't feel anywhere near as emotional as that one because we actually wanted Bryan to be champion.
And then Roman just beat him again anyway, weeks later, mere weeks, and killed his group that he was in.
And then I don't know anything else that went on, and a New Day were kind of okay around that time. It was a really bad time in wrestling because not only was the product bad, but you had a lot of injuries.
That's the same pay-per-view that they had the Brothers of Destruction versus the Wyatts.
And that wasn't great.
Who cares about that?
No
one
cares.
Great.
No,
it's not a great pay-per-view.
No.
My fourth is 2021.
Oh, okay.
The Golden Egg.
Oh my god.
The Golden Egg. Do you not remember the Golden Egg?
I do now.
The Rock's, his 25th anniversary, didn't even turn up, didn't even send in a promo,
Classic
Sam. Everyone's running after the Golden Egg. That's worth $1 million. It's Vince's last stand as something on show that's terrible. It's Vince's last stand. It's awful. It's Raw versus SmackDown. It means nothing at this point because they've done it for how many years? 5 years, and they're all terrible. But all I remember is the red notice. There was also a battle royal, which I think Omos won. Who's Omos anymore? The Golden Egg, Sam. Did you forget about the Golden Egg?
No, I remember now.
Golden Egg.
Like many
We'd
things,
stopped watching. This is the COVID bit, and we hadn't come back yet.
That's almost why I've given it a bit of a pass because it is COVID, and I almost go, I'm not going to include
it's out of COVID at that point, I think, aren't we?
I don't think
SummerSlam 2021.
Oh, the fans back.
Fans are back.
Oh, it deserves to be here.
Yeah, it's not right.
Okay, I apologise.
Nothing wrong with forgetting.
Yeah.
But the Golden Egg. Sam, your third worst Survivor Series pay-per-view.
This one hurts me. I don't like this one at all.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't like speaking about it.
Okay.
But I've got to for the channel because you're going to make.
Well, I ignored 97. So.
It's 2010.
What's wrong with 2010?
Oh,
it's not my list.
It's just the dark days of when they're really messing up the Nexus. Like Barrett.
God!
So this is the whole.
Is that the special referee, John Cena?
So if Randy Orton retains against Barrett, regardless of how, Cena's fired, which we all know isn't happening.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, he didn't. He did get fired, but
but we know it's not happening.
But he never left anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave for a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave for a month.
They weren't going to do that. So
have a month off, John. You work so hard.
So you think at least Barrett can win this thing? No, Orton just wins and Barrett
should have
won. Barrett should have won a while before this. He doesn't. Cena gets fired and he's not fired. And then what else have you got? You've got Kane in a really bad world title run against Edge.
Face
randomly.
Yeah.
He had a bit of an underwhelming year.
Didn't he kidnap Paul Bearer?
I was at that SmackDown. that you just mentioned. I was at that SmackDown as an 11-year-old. I watched that.
You got
SmackDown.
PTSD from that.
The main event of
Wasn't
that
he like
SmackDown.
throwing pizza at him and stuff like that?
Yes, but you haven't even got to the half itself. So yes, he threw pizza at him. The main event of that SmackDown, the only live actual show, not a live show, a live TV taping that I think I've ever been to WWE.
I've still not been to one.
The main event of that SmackDown was Edge versus David Otunga in a lumberjack match.
No, not
in a lumberjack match.
Wow, and can I just say the Nexus is really doing a number on you here.
It's bad. And it starts so well. And then, yeah, that's right. So you've got shenanigans going on. Kane just comes in the ring, chokeslams Edge. David Otunga wins that match.
No.
David Otunga won the main event of the only WWE TV taping I've ever been to.
Well, I'm glad I took you to All In. So,
yeah, thanks for
both years of All In.
Thank you.
Because you needed that.
Yeah.
I get that. It's not on mine, but I understand that. Because my number 3 is 2008, Sam. I can't believe you've forgotten about it so far.
Well, it's not. I didn't really see it. I came in just after this pay-per-view.
Sam, Kozlov is in the semi-main event.
Yeah, but I love Kozlov.
Jeff doesn't turn up. Kozlov and Triple H have a 10-minute one-on-one in what might be the worst 10 minutes of a world title match of all time.
Worse than Triple H Dana?
They went on for 18 minutes, but this 10 minutes was just so boring. They didn't do anything. And then Vicky, he's here. And here comes an unfit Edge who wasn't fit. And then Edge just wins the title. And then Jeff does appear anyway. It's so bad. It's so bad. But that wasn't the main event. Cena just returns, beats Jericho for the world title. Thank you for that.
Before this, did we know Cena was turning up?
Yeah, right. It was booked in. And they just main event with Cena, Jericho, and Cena wins. Wasn't it Edge's return winning the title is the main event? And they don't. Cena just beats Jericho. You've got Undertaker versus Big Show in a casket match.
Is that as good as it sounds?
Sam, I cannot get over how bad this is. And then they have the Women's Survivor Series match, and it gets 9 minutes.
5 on 5.
Yep. So, Sam, not going to lie, bloody awful.
Yeah, no, I just don't know enough about the pay-per-view. I didn't see it. I came just after.
I was out. That was it.
Yeah.
That was my moment where I went,
Was it?
I'm gone.
You just missed Jeff winning.
Yeah, I watched the Royal Rumble in 2009. I watched WrestleMania. And I think that was it for a long time of any note. Because that pay-per-view was it. I've done. I was done after that, pretty much.
You must watch the Rumble and Mania for the sake of it.
Yeah,
just
pretty much.
Courtesy,
Yeah,
almost. But then we're gone. Yeah.
Sam, your second worst Survivor Series pay-per-view.
I've gone with 2013.
Okay.
I just name something that goes on. Anything of note. We go back to the point of indifference is worse than bad. What happened, Sam?
There's a Big Show in a main event.
Yeah.
In 2013.
That's objectively worse than any indifference. That's a Randy Orton versus Big Show main event that ends, I believe, in a DQ.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a formula for an absolute 5-star classic. When we all knew that Daniel Bryan was the one that we wanted to be feuding with him. So you've got that. Anything else that happens on the show?
I'll talk about it in a minute.
Go on.
I'll talk about it in a minute. It's gonna.
Because we know the other world title match.
It's coming up in a minute, Sam. I'll get to that. You hold on that for.
I'm holding on to it.
I'll do my number 2 and then I'll come back to you in a minute.
Yeah.
My number 2 is something you've already talked about. It's 2015. I hated it. I hated the tournament. The tournament was boring. No one cared. There was no heat for the 3 matches. And then Roman and Dean had the most lackluster match. So not only are you doing this tournament, they were the 3 most boring matches. And then I hated the Brothers Destruction versus Wyatts because it killed the Wyatts again. They should have won. The Undertaker's got his thing. No, we don't need to do it. 2015, genuinely, with the Sheamus cash in. Don't know why he had it. Don't know why they gave it to him. I don't know why they haven't said that. They literally, the amount of times they have the briefcase and they go, we have to deal with this. Like when Sandow won, they literally were like, okay, we've got something coming up in 2013. We'll talk about it in a second. In fact, I'll do it in a second. Let's talk about my number 1, shall we? My number 1 is also 2013, is your number 2. Let me talk about everything there, because I've got so much more detail. You've got the point of indifference. Cena beats Del Rio for the world title. Cena has literally took out Damon Sandow a couple of weeks prior because they're like, we've got to get rid of this briefcase because we're going to unify the titles anyway. So Cena, we need Cena to be the world champion. Cena, go win the world title, please. And he beats Del Rio. It's Del Rio's lackluster title reign, and they just Cena wins. But that's not the worst thing of that show, Sam. You got Randy Orton Big Show. That's not the worst. That pay-per-view has Total Divas versus the True Divas in an 11-minute 7-on-7 match.
I didn't even know that.
It's one of Dave Meltzer's worst rated matches of all time. They were eliminating people with a drop kick. It's like it went straight to Botchamania. Immediate done, straight to Botchamania. It may be one of the worst Survivor Series matches, if not the worst of all time. The only thing I will say that redeems it is Roman Reigns looks like a star on this pay-per-view because he clean sweeps from 4-1 down.
Yes, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Team Ray.
Ray wins at the end. Yeah. So that's the only thing I will say is that. But honestly, this pay-per-view just gave me nothing but hatred. Randy Orton Big Show in a main event in 2013 with Daniel Bryan just there. No.
Punk's there.
No. It's just infuriating. Oh, they were in a match with the Shield, weren't they? Or the Wyatts. No, the 3-on-2 against the Wyatts.
Yeah.
Again, just there you go, have that. Please get out of the main event for me, please. I hate 2013 so much. But what is your worst? Because you haven't mentioned, give me something I've not mentioned.
I've gone 2018.
Oh, Raw versus SmackDown.
I have a recurring image in my brain.
Is this Triple H, Kurt Angle? Oh, why did that not make my list?
This mess.
Oh,
this absolute
they have
farce.
They have loads of
mess.
stars in the match, young new stars, and they just eliminate all of them.
So Triple H comes in for Jason Jordan because everyone hated Jason Jordan,
which is fair.
And then so
Nakamura.
You've got Shane is the only one that lasts, and he's supposed to be this big underdog. It's like you couldn't give him that to
Bobby Roode,
Nakamura immediately. Cena's just there,
but not in blue. In his neon yellow, I get my own merch because I'm John Cena.
And then gets eliminated really quickly.
Because he didn't want it, he was just turned up, be in the match, get your pay and leave.
Pretty much. And you have Shane against Braun and Triple H. I think Angle might be there as well.
Triple H eliminates Angle.
Yes, of
Triple
course.
H pedigrees
Angle.
But
then
and building a Braun Triple H match, clearly, because Braun gets in his face after they win, and then they don't, so the whole weird ending
I have
means
that
nothing.
recurring image of Braun just basically shoving Triple H against the corner, Triple H going,
Well, they built it
and
to
that's
Triple
how
H
I felt
Kurt
about
Angle.
the entire pay-per-view.
Oh, it sucked. It's a bad
It
pay-per-view.
was unbelievable.
It was the death of Raw versus SmackDown,
Only
and they
decent-
carried on doing it for another few years. Thankfully, the next one was actually very good.
The only decent thing was Brock versus Bryan, but then even then that made no sense because
I
Bryan had just turned heel.
I hated that match.
Because you're going to put him against Brock and basically act like he's still a babyface when he's just turned heel. It's like, this makes no sense.
I hated that match because of it, because even though I know it's a good match, and Bryan clearly knows psychology and made the match work. He made it work, granted, he did everything he could to make it work, and it did work. It was very entertaining, and main evented.
Yeah.
But it made Bryan's character make no sense.
No.
And do you know what? Bryan should have won. Brock couldn't lose some matches. He was champion versus champion. Bryan's just won the title. It would have made him look great, but it made him look immediately weak.
Yeah.
And if you're making a brand new world champion weak immediately, this is why you don't do world title versus world title, like Big E when he lost to Roman. Weak. Back to weak you go.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And that is our top 5 worst and best Survivor Series pay-per-views. We clearly don't like the Sheamus cash-in. What are yours? What is your top 5 and what's your worst 5? Please leave us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And we will see you next time.